Right now, businesses are going either two different ways. They're either growing or disappearing. In the last 2 or 3 weeks alone, I have seen business owners putting out content on their social media to say they're closing down. And I've had conversations in WhatsApp to say they have either exited their franchise, closed their franchise business, or sold it. Here's just one of the posts that I saw on Instagram last week, which made me really, really sad. Okay, so this business owner said they hadn't opened up their summer term bookings due to a lot of external factors, including increased operating cost, the increased childcare provision, a great thing for parents, and the uncertainty of the cost of living crisis. The model of her business, which was a franchise, is no longer viable. And that they were saddened to say this, but they were dissolving the franchise and not renewing their contract. Now, obviously, that business owner has probably been in the franchise for 5 years minimum, I would have said. And this is the reality. This is what's going on right now. And like I said, I had the same conversations in WhatsApp where people were either said they closed down their franchise and they've left, they've gone back into teaching, or they've gone to get another job. And I believe because this is what's happening in just the world in general at the minute, in business, it's called the K curve. Okay, so it's the K shaped economy. Okay, so you are either growing up here, growing, or you are stuck here, which is you are plateauing, or you are declining, closing, basically. Like you're either declining and on your way to closing. And that is exactly what's happening right now. There are business owners who are doing very well right now in the economy. They are growing and scaling. You've got a bunch of people who are just stuck because they don't know what to do. And then you've got a bunch of people who are winding down. Now, what you've got to look at in terms of your business is, where do you sit on the K economy curve right now? Okay, that's right. Where do you actually sit? So we're in a trust recession right now. So people keep asking, what is a trust recession? So let's go into this. So trust recession. You've probably heard this word being kicking about in the online space. If you're online basically, or following businesses, gurus, etc. We're in this trust recession where there's like too much noise. So there's too much noise going on online, in our day-to-day lives, in our feeds, etc. There's too much content. So basically what's been happening is, we've been for the last 2 years, I would have said, like when I first started this business like 4 years ago, we were definitely in the era of short-based form content, videos, reels, trying to get those dopamine hits. So you're constantly scrolling. So that's like a dopamine. But now we've got to the stage where we're overwhelmed with content. There's just too much content going out. And also we have another issue around AI content. So you've got AI content that's coming out and people don't know if it's true, is it fake, like this whole fake news. So what's happening is people are being more cautious because they don't know what's true. Like they don't know what to believe is true. And it's getting harder to stand out. Because there's just so much stuff, like so much noise going on. So you as a small business owner, are up competing against all the big brands that are out there, but also all the local businesses, and everyone's basically fighting for attention. Basically, you're out there trying to buy eyeballs, basically, so you can grab attention. Now, the thing is, if you don't bring people into your world, you can't build the trust, okay? And trust right now, trust, my friends, is the currency right now, okay? So trust equals money right now, okay? And you can only start building trust if you actually start creating meaningful content that keeps the viewer, the audience, with you for a longer period of time, which is why I made the decision in December to go all in on creating YouTube, like creating content just like I'm doing right now, because I knew that we were going into a period where there's uncertainty, people don't trust what they believe to see online, and that short-based content, like boom, 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 boom snippets, wasn't going to cut it anymore, because people want to build relationships and they want the trust. Also, they actually want to like consume something that actually means something to them. Like you're still going to get people who scroll through Instagram, etc., for entertainment. And you see, and this is the big difference. There's entertainment is like dancing around reels and stuff. Yeah, if you want to entertain people, be my guest. That's what you're doing. Basically, you are entertaining people. Then you've got people who are doing education content. So that's like when they're actually giving you like 5 tips or 5 ways to do something, and you may do that in your business. And then you've got the third option, which is like you educate and entertain at the same time. Now, what's happening is people, like, I do not even scroll reels. Like, I have no time and interest to be spending scrolling reels for entertainment. I don't need entertaining. But there will be people that want that type of content. Now, what you've got to do is think about how your customers engage with you. Now, do they want that type of content where you are like constantly entertaining? Because at the end of the day, you can buy those types of eyeballs, like you can do that and you can go viral, but does it actually equal money? Like, that is the issue. Like, people can have create like, oh, I've done a reel and it got 1 million views, but has it equated to actual money? Now, you'll be better off creating great content that resonates with your audience, that builds trust, that leads to money, that leads to a sale, and have 200 views instead of being going for these big views, which is one of the things I keep telling my clients is stop worrying about the views. Like, because at the end of the day, you can't control the algorithm. Like, if you're trying to like beat the algorithm, you're playing the wrong game. What you want to be doing is creating content that your audience actually wants to consume, that builds trust, as we've already said, which then equals sales. And if that means creating a piece of content that gets 200 views, for example, instead of something that gets 1,000, 2,000 views, because this is what people keep saying to me. Oh, my views are going down. Like, my views are going down. I wouldn't be worried about that. I'd be worried about, like, how are you creating content that does this, that builds trust? Because you're not here to entertain everybody. You're here to build a business. We're not here to entertain the crowds. Okay, so trust is the currency. So if you can start getting that into your head, thinking, right, how do I build trust? Because that's what I need to be doing in 2026. And the way you build trust is through visibility. It's through showing up in many, many different ways, okay? So the visibility, so this is you getting out there. Visibility goes towards the trust, and then the trust goes towards the sales, which is what you want. You want to be getting bookings in. So I strongly urge that you start thinking that way instead of thinking, oh, my content's not getting many views. Yes, obviously that means less eyeballs, but it might mean you're getting the right eyeballs, because at the end of the day, you want the eyeballs that are going to pay you. That's what we're looking for. We're looking for customers that are going to pay you. So in March, if you remember when I was out on the beach, I said to you that March was going to be a big visibility month. It was all about attending events, building relationships, making content as well, but basically meeting people, speaking to people, developing those relationships, and championing the Class Business Awards. And we did that by going to the Big Festoon. I went to an in-person mastermind day in London. I went to ICAP down in Birmingham, and then I hosted a mastermind retreat. Okay, I put myself into rooms where my audience was. Okay, so that's the main thing. It's like, think about how are you doing that every single day. So one of the key elements for me right now is building relationships. Okay, so relationships. And you could be doing this yourself in the local area. You could be building relationships with the schools, with nurseries, with community centre, community groups. There are a gazillion million people you could be building relationships with in the local area. I built relationships with my sponsors. So I went to ICAP, mainly for like 3 reasons. One was to meet my sponsors in person, because at the end of the day, if you want like an ongoing relationship with people for your business, then you need to connect with them. So, although I do a lot of connection online, for me, it was really important to actually see people face to face. So I connected with our headline sponsor, Tim from Book That In, Tamara Holland from Dot and Stripe, Abby from Love Admin. I spoke to Pebble, I spoke to Keris Keneally. I spoke to lots of different people that day. And the aim of the game is to build relationships that are going to compound over a long period of time and bring, build the trust and bring sales in the future. So that's how I manage relationships with sponsors. Now, then we have the business owners on your own. So basically, at events like the Big Festoon, you're not going to, class providers are not at that type of event. That event is for bricks and mortar businesses and online business owners. So it was a great way to connect with people, to talk to them about the Class Business Awards, because at the end of the day, I'm trying to build relationships that are going to link up to sponsorship in the future. And so that was what that day was about. And plus I went to go and see the production so I could look at what worked and what didn't work for my day, my event. Then I also went to speak to providers at ICAP. So that event was obviously full of people who could be applying for Class Business Awards, who could be coming into my world for various different programs like Market Like a Pop Star. And that is all about visibility. Like, people want to connect with the person they see online on the camera. So who did we meet? We met Bill from Toddler Bow. We saw Sammy from Boogie Tots, Anna from Kids Lingo, Helen from Tots Play, Leanne from Drama Tots, like lots of different people. So the aim for that day was connect with as many people as possible, show them myself and that I'm there in person. Again, you could be doing this for your business as well in the local area. So the whole point was to build those relationships so people can see me. And visibility comes in many different formats. It comes from podcasts, from in-person events, from socials, from emails, from PR. Like there's loads of different ways you can build visibility. But the aim is to build visibility that equals trust, that equals sales, okay? So conversations, right. Now this one, conversations. Now, if you're in my WhatsApp world, you'll know I have conversations every single day. Like every single day, I speak to people either in WhatsApp, in the DMs for Instagram. So recently, like whenever I run paid ads, no matter whatever I do on paid ads, I always get a massive surge of followers on Instagram. And the aim for that is build relationship with every person by connecting with them, by following with them, and then inviting them to join my email list. So that's the cycle on Instagram for me. But I have a lot of conversations in WhatsApp. And the reason I do that is I check in with people through voice notes, through follow-up, through just generally, hello, how are you? Because that's where I get my feedback on what's actually going on at the coalface in terms of what challenges providers are facing. So look at your conversations that you're having every single day and see what's coming out of them. And your conversations will be with schools, nurseries, parents, community groups. What are those conversations telling you? Okay, so that's the bit we're looking for, because that's where the real insight comes from. That's when you look at what does my market actually need, and I'll circle back to that in a minute on the K curve. Remind me. So the reality is, right now, the reality is, as I said like before. The reality is we have businesses closing down, which is really sad to see. But I will say this, and I will talk about this on the K curve. This is either going to clean up the sector because the people who are prepared to do the work and change and adapt to the market will be the ones that go up on the K curve, and the ones that don't adapt will close. And so we could see the saturated market getting cleaned up by this natural what do you call it, adaptation, progression, like what's going on right now. We've got people struggling, so it goes back to the K curve. They're in the plateau situation. They're not growing. They're stuck, and they're on their way down if they don't start taking some action. We've got people who are just unsure. Like I said, yeah, those are the people in the middle. They're just unsure what's going on and what should be their next natural step. So you need to think about right now, where do you sit on this K curve? Like, where does your business sit? Running out of ink here. Are you growing, adapting to the market, feeling those changes? And here's the thing, this bit here, when you're adapting to the market, means listening to what people actually want and need. This is why I think the businesses here will thrive, because if you can actually think about, what do my customers need? What do they actually want? Not what you think they want, because that is the difference. What do they actually need right now? Right now. And it will be the businesses here that are agile, that can adapt quickly, are the ones that are going to thrive. They're the ones that are going to thrive. The ones that are stuck need to think, how can I grow, what does my audience need? What can I do to adapt and change to meet the needs of the marketplace right now? And the ones that don't, I'm sad to say, will close. They will just close. And if the business isn't viable anymore, I would question, has the business at the top, it could be that it's a national franchise, have they adapted to what the market actually wants and needs right now? Now, this is when the independents can really have the opportunity to thrive, because they're not constrained by the franchise model. They can shift, and they can move, and they can adapt, and they can create. And so if you're an independent, this is your opportunity. This is your real opportunity to thrive in a market which right now is trying to survive. You've just got to think about, how am I going to do that? What does my market need? What visibility do I need to be building in? How can I build trust? And then how can I create content that brings sales into my world? And if the other businesses here don't adapt, then we are going to naturally see this tail off, and we will see people closing down. And like I said, I know it sounds harsh, but it might not be a bad thing, because it means the saturated market will naturally clean itself. But it's still sad, because I don't want to see any business close down. Okay, so I'm going to use an example of how I'm adapting to meet the needs of the market. So I've already explained on the K curve that we've got business are thriving, growing, and we've got people plateauing that are stuck, and we've got people who are on their way out, who are in decline. Now, one of the reasons that I wanted to build a strategist team, if you remember the strategist video, was to help these people that are currently stuck, so they can get to a situation where they're thriving. And we just opened up the doors. You remember, we opened up the doors to become a children's activity business strategist, and we've just brought in 12 incredible business owners who are going to be helping me on this mission. But it didn't come by accident. You don't just find 12 incredible business owners. You literally have got to go sort of fishing in a big sea of providers and find the right people. And that came down to visibility. So that came down to me promoting the opportunity, running paid ads to call out the correct people, hosting an online session to speak to people directly. And it came from conversations with providers and building those relationships. And so when you can think about your business and think about, right, actually, how am I going to solve a problem? Because that's what I'm doing right now. We have a massive need in the market, and my mission is to help solve that problem so we don't end up with people on the decline and closing down. But visibility isn't passive. You have to be active with it. So let's talk about what it actually means to you, and then how you can implement it into your business. So everyone obviously knows, and if you don't know because you're living under a rock, I'm hosting the Class Business Awards this year. So awards, Class Business Awards. Okay, so we've got an awards platform that I'm building, and it's exactly one of the reasons I built it, is to increase visibility for the sector as a whole, to spotlight the great work that everyone's doing. Hence why, we've been interviewing sponsors and judges, and now we're getting to the nominees, and then we're going to get to the finalists. It's to help build trust within within our sector, because you can take all this content and push it out to your audience. It obviously creates good, valuable content for my audience to consume, because the whole point is I can speed up your knowledge intake by interviewing that many people that you can cherry pick which ones are good for you and your business that meets your needs. And then it means you can move forward quicker so we can get you on this K curve going up. And it gives credibility, because at the end of the day, when you say you're an award-winning business owner, parents take notice. Like, people take notice because you've gone through an actual process. So what I want you to think about in your businesses is, where are you visible right now? Like, where are you visible? Like, where are you showing up every single day? Like, what are you doing? Like, what are you actually doing? Like, who are you speaking to? So who are we speaking to? And if you've caught the Highlands vlog that's gone out, and you remember one of my clients was wanting to get one more school contract, and I was like, we just need to speak to 20 schools, 20 people in positions of power who can make decisions. So that's what we need to do. That's the bit we need to figure out. Where do we get visible? How do we find them? How do we put ourselves in front of them? And that brings us like what rooms are you getting in? Like, what rooms are you putting yourself in? Because I can tell you now, if you're just sitting in your living room, typing off your computer and pinging it out into the online space and then hoping it's going to bring you all these bookings, it's not going to fly, my friends, in 2026. You've got to get yourself out there into the community. And funny enough, I interviewed a lady yesterday for the podcast who's actually known in her area for being the deaf lady. The deaf, not in the deaf, the dead people lady. And I thought that was just brilliant, that she is actually known for that. And that's because she's out in the local community. People know the work that she does. She speaks to people. She gets herself in those right rooms. So, like, what rooms are you in? And I'm not including your living room. Okay. And are you waiting or creating opportunities? So, like, are you waiting or creating? Because there's a difference. If you are waiting to be invited to the local school to do an assembly, you could be waiting a long time. If you are waiting to be invited by the local authority to come and engage with senior leaders to talk about X, Y, and Z, you could be waiting a long time. You need to create your opportunities. It's like they say about luck, isn't it? Like, luck is you create those opportunities. It's not luck. It's going out and finding those opportunities, spotting the gap. It goes back to, what does the market actually need right now? And then how can you solve that problem? So, yeah, are you waiting or creating? Now, you've got an opportunity through the Class Business Awards. You don't even have to wait. You can just apply, get the visibility, get your nomination badges out there, send off a press release to tell everyone you've been nominated, start talking to other local business owners and telling them that you are part of an awards program, that you've been recognised. And if you get through as a finalist, then you can do so many different things. That is just one strategy, like one strand of your visibility strategy. So I want you to think about, like, after watching this, like, can you get into one room this month? So, like, here's some actions to get you moving. Like, can you get in one room this month? One room. Okay, can you get into one room? Can you start 5 conversations every day? So that means actually speaking to people in the DMs, wherever it is. You start conversations and see where the opportunities go. Reach out to your audience, like, actually find out what people actually want and need. Like, what do they need help with? So yeah, reach out, speak to your audience. Too many people create stuff and they don't actually know if people actually want it. Like, this is why they tell some, like, people do sell and then build. It's a scary prospect for people, but always start with either a wait list, and unless you've got like a guaranteed 50 to 100 people on that wait list, you haven't really got a viable idea, because not all of them are going to buy. Or you sell the product and then build it afterwards, because then you know you've already got people that purchase, and then you create it. So it's like when people are like launching in new locations, and I'm like, don't just launch it. You need to launch with a wait list, because otherwise you could just book a venue, advertise, do all of that, and then find out people actually don't want you there. So think about it strategically. Collaborate with others. Like, this is the time to marry up, my friends, with your pals in the local area and create some collaborations. Have a look at who you can collaborate with, and then looking at how can you show up consistently. So we've got collabs. We love collabs. And then we've got basically show up consistently. Show up, my friends, even when you don't want to. Go back to my vlog where I was like, bug of the plan, like, no, not bug of the mood, you got to just follow the plan, okay? Even if you don't want to do all those things, you have to just follow the plan, okay? So I want you to think about, like I said, where do you sit on this K curve right now? If you want to be a business that thrives in 2026, then first of all, make sure you're on my Market Like a Pop Star online event, because I'm going to be helping people with this, and I'm going to be including it in the Market Like a Pop Star program for 2026. But if people, and it's about this K curve, and then it's about how do I build trust? Like, how do I build trust given the fact I'm in a trust recession that leads to sales? Okay, that leads to sales, because visibility builds the trust, then trust drives decisions, and decisions drive the sales. And if you're serious about getting visible in 2026, then your first step is to go and enter the Class Business Awards, so we can start that process of getting you visible. And then the second step is come and join me on the Market Like a Pop Star live event, which is kicking off on the 27th of April, because that's when we're going to really dive into this. But I really want you to start thinking about, where am I on this K curve? Like, am I growing? Am I moving forward? Am I plateauing? Or am I in decline? Because that will tell you and give you an indication of where you need to be placing your attention. And then, like I said, start listening to what the market actually wants. What do people want and need, not what you think they need? Because at the end of the day, we're in this place right now where the economy is like all over the place. People are taking longer to make buying decisions. And so you need to be able to adapt, change quickly to meet the needs of the market. Because I believe this year is about survival, and we want people to thrive instead of survive. But if we keep seeing what's going on right now, we're going to keep seeing people declining. And that's a real shame, because it means a lot of children and families and communities are not getting your services. Like, just that one business closing is probably now affected how many families and communities in that area. It's really sad. Anyway, a lot for you to think about today. If you loved this whiteboard session, because I know you do like a whiteboard session, comment below, tell me what resonated with you, share this with another provider who you feel would benefit from this, and make sure you like and subscribe to the YouTube channel so we can keep creating more content like this. And then I'll see you on the next vlog, because I'm going to Matt Hall's event, which is Business Mastery in Leeds, for 2 days to do exactly what I've talked about in here. Bye for now.